it was the end of discretionary income. And a girlfriend said, why don't we go for coffee? And I didn't want to spend the $2. So I said, I can't do that. We had just bought the house. We were so happy. We had just bought a house. And we had moved in on a Saturday in March with a little bit of a snow. And that Monday he went to work and was laid off indefinitely. She said, we're going to go out for coffee. We're actually going to have really good coffee. You're going to have the latte that you want. And we're going to have a whole lunch, and neither one of us is going to pay for it. So we went in, and she starts explaining to me that we could use these buttons to pay for food. If she was having a tight week, making ends meet, she would come in and use buttons for a lunch. And then the next week, she would pay for her lunch, and she would buy buttons. Like, we weren't in a soup kitchen. I didn't feel poor. I didn't feel like I was far from abundance. I didn't feel cut off from abundance. And it certainly had dignity to it.
There's no shame in using the buttons. And there are people out there who know how much the community at large here needs a place to feel warmth and compassion.
I think as a kid, there wasn't a lot I could do. We lived around the corner from a Catholic worker house, and they were having some problems managing behaviors. So the solution was to call my parents and ask if we could temporarily, put someone up. And of course, my parents said yes. That was normal, coming home to people I didn't know in my home, in my bedroom, learning names, and then they were gone, and then there was someone else. They chose to live in a poor neighborhood amongst the people they were serving when they had a choice, but they didn't realize how quickly you could slide into poverty. And so after 1 or 2 layoffs, there we were. So I want to talk about the resentment, like being born into poverty, thanks to someone who didn't plan well or think about it because they were so busy saving the world. I just wanted normal parents that would blend in. They were living their values of radical hospitality, and they were taking chances on people and building community and showing us what that looked like firsthand. So it wasn't something we learned in a class or in a book or a sermon or a lecture. Eventually, my husband got called back to work, and around the same time, I got to work from home 1 day a week. And so I would come in the morning and set up my laptop and kind of work from there. And then that's where I met my friend Albert. I said, "Excuse me, I'm Ameriga. What's your name? Can I sit down? Can I sit here?" I was like, "Is that a yes?" Apparently no one could understand him, but we sat together long enough that I was able to understand him, and we just became friends. Like, we had a really beautiful relationship. He had a light about him that he just wouldn't let get snuffed out for long. One day we were wild and crazy. We went to St. Catharines because we heard there was a really good ice cream place there. So one morning I got a call like I often did, but it was too early. Like, it was like 8 a.m, not 9 or 10 or 11. So right away, I didn't like that. And so I knew he died from something kind of preventable. And yeah, I don't know, it just hit me really hard. have a Scotch tape portrait of him over the window. It's actually over the window, over the table where we used to sit. And then after that, I would come in here and I would just walk in the door and glance, and that was like going to a cemetery and touching the tombstone. So as soon as we got on our feet, I came back and I started donating buttons in the button jar. And I would always have a 20 ready to go. I was here a lot. My family would always say, I don't know why you love that place so much. Why are you always going there? Why, if we go out, that's the place you want to go? I'm like, I don't know either, but I just do. I'm like, I guess I like talking to the familiar faces or having this routine. So I had worked in restaurants and managed restaurants a lot. So I was getting tired of waiting in a slow-moving line. And I knew they had faster-moving lines before. I'm like, I left this place once or twice when I was hungry because I had money and I could spend it somewhere else and eat quicker. And then I feel guilty that I didn't spend the money here, right? And so when I heard they had a customer service feedback survey, I was like, let me see that. And I wrote all over it. It was not big enough. And I put in my phone number, my email, and I said, please call me. And they did. And I let her have it. Like, this place has to be sustainable. I don't know how you can stay in business. And I'm tired of this. And this is not working. And you need to do this. And how could you let it get to this point? But I wanted this place to be here for the people like me at one point that really, really needed whatever it was this place had to offer, which is different for everyone. And I kept feeling like I wanted to be a part of this place. And I was really clear, too, that I didn't want to volunteer in any of the volunteer positions that I understood for various reasons. I didn't feel like that was where I was going to add value or be useful or enjoy. And that made me feel bad. And then I was like, well, maybe there's something else I could do that I just don't know about. Maybe they need something. Maybe I have some skill. I don't know. Like, why assume the worst? Why assume limitations? So I emailed Justin and I said, here's some things that I know how to do. And he mentioned that there was a volunteer fundraising committee he could see me being a part of. So you just steward relationships. You build relationships, you maintain relationships, stuff I like doing. I got an interview and somehow I got this job that I had never done before. Well, first day was a retreat, employee retreat. But then the first day at work here was this leadership team meeting. Before we have a meeting, we're going to talk about our feelings. So they go around, someone has energies 1 or 2 because they didn't sleep well, like they're being honest and talking about that. And someone's stress level is high because of whatever valid reason. Like, these people are talking real talk. But I realized that, like, I didn't even know what my stress level was, and I didn't know what my energy level was because life in corporate spaces, I didn't marinate. If my stress level was high, then that was like fuel to get something done.
All pancakes are good pancakes.
And learn to be real with my coworkers who are being real with me. And that it was safe to do that, and it was actually good, and that was how we got work done. Yeah, so before I pretty much had just my individual experience and what I was able to see with my 2 eyes and hear with my 2 ears once or 2 or 3 times a week. But when I was now working in this space, I became aware of how many people needed this space and how the staff was so good at pivoting without thought to whatever was needed over and over and over again. So I learned more of the stories of the regulars that I had known a little bit, some of them. I learned a little bit more. I learned more of the stories of the staff. This place, I recognize, helps a lot of people, different people, really different people, with social isolation. Maybe they're isolated because they're on the spectrum, or they live alone and or don't have family, or they don't have social skills, or they're estranged from their family. Like so many different instances of that.
I knew I wanted to be a part of it. Losing my daughter, Megan, in the accident, it shattered me. It shook my whole world. We were both visiting my mom's youngest brother and his wife. We get in the car, and about a half hour later, we were in a head-on car accident. I knew I had a life to lead. I just didn't know where to go, what to do, and there's so many people who have just took so much time out of their lives to help me when I needed it. And when I walked in here, I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. I just loved the warmth and in here. It was a place of safety for people, and they weren't judged, and everybody's treated like family here. It's needed because there's not enough places for this community.
I don't know, I didn't even call it volunteering really, I just trying to stay out of my head. But the booze and don't kill you, the lifestyle definitely will, right? So everybody out here just is living seconds and inches, right? I've been at this 34 years, right? This has given me some sense of purpose too, right? You gotta develop purpose really pretty quick in life where you're not gonna have a good time. Being able to come in and feel a little bit human for an hour, it's pretty important. I'm really blessed to have that. And you go to places like this, some of the meetings I go to, and you'll find people fighting over who's gonna help take care of you, who's gonna help get well. That's heaven on earth, man.
I'd like to see us grow our catering business to become, more of a social enterprise, not just serving food, but ensuring that good food gets into households in the neighborhood. How can we be a community healthcare hub? How can we be sustainable for staff? Because that's the only way we can take good care of our guests, right? It's like putting on your oxygen mask first. There's so many seeds that have been planted here that we could fertilize and nourish and harvest. Well, first, I'm very grateful for it. Number one, it's a huge opportunity, but it's really exciting because it draws on so many skills, experiences, and abilities that I developed in different parts of my life. It's exhilarating that I'm part of a team of people that value others more than they value their own ego and their own agendas. And I know that I'm living my values, and I know that I'm living the organization's values, and I'm living the values that my parents lived. I'm carrying on that legacy. And to be part of a community that is as unique and is so far away from the community that I was born into geographically, but yet is very much the same place. It's a home of radical hospitality, where people come in through the door every day. I know they're going to be new people I've never seen before, everyday people. We're equipped. We're here for that. We're here to welcome people. The way that I was welcomed, the way that Albert was welcomed. But I hope that everyone that comes through the door leaves feeling seen, feeling heard and believed in.